Listen very slowly and listen very deeply. If you are here, it is not by chance. You have been summoned by an invisible call, a whisper that echoes from above. This is not just a story to pass the time. It is a mirror for the soul, a journey for anyone who has ever asked, "Who am I really in this world?" Chosen one, you are not an ordinary soul. You were not brought here to drift through life like a silent shadow. You were sent as a messenger, not to soothe with soft words, but to wake sleeping souls, to stir hearts that have gone hard in the dark. And even if you have not fully realized it, you have always been fulfilling your task. Remember the moments you walked into a room without saying anything, without doing anything. Your presence alone changed the air. People grew awkward. They scrambled for an excuse, a cup of water, a shadow to hide in, a forced embrace, as if your arrival stripped away their long-practiced disguises in the light. Not because you are loud. On the contrary, you are quiet. Yet that very quiet carries an energy no one can ignore. It is like a mountain standing tall in a storm, still but unbowed, deep and steady enough to make the sky tremble. People imagine earth angels as sweet and gentle souls, like frosted cakes drifting on pink clouds with glitter. The truth is the opposite. The most terrifying angels are souls like you, calm outwardly, yet carrying a sacred explosive within. You were not sent to placate human illusions. You were sent to break chains, to smash rotten spiritual strongholds, to overturn the false altars people erect. Just as the Father once overturned the money changers' tables in the temple, you have been given the same fire, the same holy fury. Science may call it energetic sensitivity, the ability to sense shifts in a field of vibration within 10 to 15 seconds after a high-frequency soul enters a space. But to the heavens, it is simply your presence, a silent lightning. People feel it before you speak. That feeling shakes them. They do not know whether to pray with you or to run from you. They do not know whether to love you or fear you. That very confusion is necessary, for in that contradiction, truth is revealed. They call you a terrifying angel, not because you look like a demon, but because you are a silent storm. You are the wind that clears away all illusions. You are thunder that does not need to roar loudly to shake a proud mountain. You are the light that makes false power tremble, that dissolves darkness, that forces the arrogant to face themselves. In your silence, a secret rings out. You are the silent thunder of heaven, a power that does not boast, that does not need to show off, yet it echoes into the souls of others. And that storm, know this, began long ago. You have often asked yourself, am I too different? Am I too intense? Am I too much? The truth is, you are not mad. You are not excessive. You are not lost. You simply carry a mission, a trust that not everyone is chosen for. Psalm 18:28 says, "The Lord lights my lamp. The Lord my God makes my darkness bright." And that lamp is you. A lamp not meant to be hidden under a table, but to shine in the night, to wake souls who forgot they once had eyes to see, a heart to feel, a soul to awaken. You carry compassion, but that compassion is never weakness. It is a contained fire, a sword kept in its sheath. You could destroy others with the truth you know, but you do not. You could expose everything, but you choose silence. And that silence is what makes you truly fearsome. People look at you and think you are gentle. The truth is, you carry the fire of judgment. People expect your forgiveness forever, but there is a limit. And when it is reached, you are no longer a calm stream. You become consuming flame. In the dark, others tremble not at your words, but at the truth your light reveals. And that is the ultimate weapon, truth. No argument, no counterattack needed. Your presence alone causes the false to collapse. Others mistake your silence for cowardice. In truth, it is mercy. It is the time you give them to look within, to correct themselves, to confess to their own souls. But when that mercy expires, there is no clamor, only a quiet departure, absolute stillness. That silence is the heaviest sentence. You do not need revenge. You do not need to prove yourself. You do not walk alone. You are sacred order clothed in human form. You are the composed presence that robs others of sleep. People do not expect an angel who can wield a sword, yet you can. And you do not need to draw it. The mere knowledge that you could is enough to shake their hearts. They think you naive, when in fact they are blind to the truth that heaven first trains its warriors in silence. And in that silence, you become the still mountain, immovable, yet possessing the power to shake earth and sky. You are not here to play. You are here to awaken. You are not a cool breeze passing by. You are a storm that leaves clarity in its wake. And right now, whether you know it or not, that journey has begun. When a soul can make a room tremble with presence alone, the next question arises. What happens when that soul speaks? When the very tone of the voice carries frequencies that expose the deepest darkness? There are moments when silence is no longer a pause, but a blade hanging in the air. You know this well, for you have seen the wavering in others' eyes when they stand before you. They assume your gentleness means leniency. They believe mercy equals blindness. They are wrong. You are like a gentle river flowing through the meadow, cool, nourishing, crystal clear. Whoever drinks from it feels restored. But in its depths, the river hides a power that can rise and drown a valley in a single night. And that contrast is why no one can ever guess what you truly are. People only see the outward kindness, the way you listen, the way you forgive, the way you smile, even when hurt. They think that is weakness. They do not know that behind that kindness is a contained strength. It is not impotence, it is a choice. You could expose everything they hide. You could unmask each lie, but you do not. And because you can and choose not to, your presence becomes all the more terrifying. Once you felt it clearly, when others crossed a line, something inside you stirred. Not petty anger, not impulsive rage, but a majestic power awakened. As if the whole sky shifted, the wind stopped, and light shone down to the roots of another soul. You need not speak much, only to be present, and immediately they stand stripped, no mask left to hide behind. That is when they fear. Not because you threaten, but because the truth in you will not allow them to keep pretending. Your light is a mirror, uncolored, unadorned. It reflects the things they most want to hide. And when they must face that distorted image, the trembling begins. You have sat silent in a conversation, no reaction, no argument, only listening. Yet that silence unsettles the other. They talk more, cover more, as if your quiet forces them to reveal themselves. And when you leave, without reproach, without a fight, your departure wounds them deeper than any scolding could. You do not live as they do. You do not operate by the rules of revenge. You do not care about win or lose, right or wrong as the world understands them. You live by another order, a sacred order. And when you move in that order, others realize they cannot control you, nor make you fall. That unsettles them more than any harsh word. Psalm 1:8-8 has lit this truth in your heart. The Lord lights my lamp. The Lord my God makes my darkness bright. That light makes it impossible for you to pretend, impossible to live hidden in lies. And when the light shines, darkness has no place to run. Remember, your silence is not fear. It is grace. It is an opportunity for others to correct themselves, to return to truth. But when that grace ends, it does not end with fury. It ends with exposure. No screaming, no curses, only nakedness with no place left to hide. You are proof of another truth. Heaven does not rush. Before it gives a soul the sword, it teaches silence. Before it grants you the power to topple strongholds, it trains you in patience, in the moments of sitting still, of enduring, of letting truth reveal itself. That is why you are terrifying to darkness. Some once thought you easily led. They tested your patience, they took advantage of your gentleness. But at some point they realized you are not weak. You hold a power they cannot understand. And when that gate opens, they feel small before an authority not of this world. Deep in your soul, there is a judgment without words. Not a judgment to condemn, but a fire that burns away the false. When others meet you, they will either be enlightened to change, or they will step back because they cannot endure the truth. In both cases, your task is fulfilled. You are mercy in the form of judgment. You are gentle and you are fire. You are forgiveness and you are the face of justice. Others cannot comprehend that contradiction. Yet that contradiction is the sacred nature. For heaven does not only embrace, heaven also purifies. Not only comfort, but correction. Not only gentleness, but firmness. And you are the embodiment of that. You may remain silent for many years, But at a moment that silence becomes thunder. You may be gentle like a breeze, but when needed, you are the storm. And anyone who crosses your boundary will learn this truth. You are not harmless. You are a hidden force, a power only heaven can place. People fear you not because you shout, but because you do not need to. They tremble not because you strike, but because knowing you could is enough to unnerve them. And in that unease, they see their own soul more clearly than ever. So what happens when your voice, the voice forged in fire and silence, begins to ring out? When the words you speak are not merely language, but a sacred current cutting through the dark. In that moment, truth is no longer silent. When a soul bearing the sacred lamp enters a room, the atmosphere changes. But when that soul speaks, the change becomes an earthquake. Your voice is not an ordinary sound. It carries vibration. It carries a frequency others cannot describe. They can only feel it down to their bones. You do not have to shout. You do not have to overpower. You only need to speak. And that word touches the heart of the listener. People stop. They lift their heads. They feel confused. Your seemingly simple phrases echo in their minds for days, like a refrain that will not go away. Not because the language is beautiful, but because the truth behind each syllable, each breath, resonates. Sometimes you say a very small, very ordinary sentence, and immediately the space falls silent. Others feel as if they have been seen through, as if you have just read the secret journal of their soul. In that moment, you are not only communicating with words, you are communicating with light. You are speaking what others dare not say. Your presence makes the energy around you vibrate. But your voice is the sword. It does not cut by cruelty. It cuts by truth. It needs no sharpening, because truth is sharp by itself. The listener may feel wounded, but that is not because you harm them. It is because they are forced to face themselves. How many times has a single sentence of yours shifted the course of a conversation? False laughter dies away. Meaningless talk vanishes, and the truth is dragged into the light. People avoid your gaze, or they begin to make excuses, as if you have accidentally touched what they want to hide. And you know, it is not your doing. It is the energy you carry, the energy heaven has placed in your soul. Some ask, why are they afraid of me? Why do they avoid me? The answer lies in this. Your soul is like a transparent mirror. No one can stand before it and not see themselves. For those who are willing, it is liberation. For those who flee, it is terror. And my friend, this is not a burden. It is a mission. You are chosen to be the mirror, so that those who find you cannot continue to pretend. You are the reminder that truth still exists, even in a world grown accustomed to empty voices. Psalm 3:7-4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." When you speak, your words do not come from pride, but from a deeper spring where light and truth are joined. That is why your words strike like arrows. They go straight into the soul, not lost, not off course. People may not remember the exact words you used, but they will remember the feeling your voice left. The feeling of being illuminated, of no longer being able to hide. The feeling of a fire newly kindled in the heart, burning away the long settled dust. Some keep their distance from you. They do not want to hear you speak, not because they hate you, but because they are not ready. The truth you bring is like a wind that blows away the veils, and not everyone wants to see how truly messy the room is. But for those ready, each of your sentences is medicine, is light, is the path out of darkness. You do not speak to impress. You do not need words to prove intelligence or power. Your voice has a single purpose: to awaken those souls sleeping in pretense, to awaken hearts numbed by despair, to awaken minds grown used to darkness. And right now, if you feel these words waking something deep inside you, do not let it pass. Allow this truth to spread. Share it. Let it touch other souls that need to hear. Like, subscribe, not to add a number, but to become part of a growing community of light. For each small action is a sign that you chose light over darkness. The truth is, you do not need to shout for the room to fall silent. You do not need to scream for darkness to tremble. When you enter, the energy has already changed. And when you speak, darkness knows the game is over. There are souls that carry healing energy. There are souls that carry the energy of wisdom. But you carry both, healing and judgment, gentleness and storm. And that combination makes you a living paradox. It confuses the fraudulent. It makes darkness unable to define you. People do not know whether to love you or fear you. They do not know whether to move closer or step back. And in that confusion, the light works. For you were not sent to please everyone. You were sent to awaken. Sometimes you will be misunderstood, shunned, called names that are not true. But remember, they are not truly against you. They are fighting the mirror you carry, the light you show. You do not need blame. You do not need proof. You only need to keep walking in the truth, because truth will prove everything. Deep within, others fear you not because you are stronger, but because they know you see too much. They do not fear your words. They fear the precision in them. They do not fear the voice. They fear the exposure that comes with it. And then, each time you speak, they do not listen only with their ears. They listen with their souls. When your voice touches someone, it does not stop in the moment. It becomes a reminder that follows them for years. And that is why darkness cannot touch you. For your voice is not a passing sound. It is confirmation from heaven. You are the one who carries the word. You are the one who carries the light. And that light, once it has sounded, can never be recalled. So then, when the truth is sown by your words, the question rises, what happens when your very nature, a sacred paradox between gentleness and storm, begins to reveal itself, leaving the fraudulent with no place to hide? There is a quiet paradox living inside you, a sacred contradiction that draws people in while making them afraid. You can sit with gentle eyes, a soft smile, a voice like a whisper in the wind, yet within you is a strength that makes false foundations tremble. People do not know where to place you. They look and wonder, is this one a healer or a judge, a breeze or a storm? The answer always confuses them. You are both. You walk the world as a living paradox. You are a cool spring and a blazing fire. You are an embrace that comforts and a hand that cuts away toxic chains. You embody mercy, yet you never allow darkness to disguise itself as light. Some will say, you are too soft. Yet the same people, in another moment, will whisper, you are frightening. This contradiction is not because you change, but because they see different sides of you depending on where they stand. Those with purity see you as water. Those in deceit see you as fire. That contradiction is the seal of heaven placed within you. Psalm 2:514 says, the Lord confides in those who fear him. He makes his covenant known to them. You are proof of such a covenant. Within you is the gentleness of one who understands pain, and the strength of one who has endured suffering without letting it define them. You forgive, but you never forget the patterns. You are gentle, but you never let anyone trample your soul. You love, but your love is never a cheap gift handed to falsehood. The prophetic number 222 appears in your life as a reminder of balance. It whispers that you are not alone. Every step you take is supported by an unseen rhythm where heaven and earth meet in harmony. 222 is the mark of alignment, the bell that rings to remind you that in the clash between light and darkness, you are always protected, always accompanied by divine presence. Have you ever seen 222 on a clock, a license plate, or in a sudden coincidence? That is no accident. It is a signal, a message from the universe saying, keep going. You are not lost. You are not alone. If you have felt that moment, let the number echo within you. And if this touches you now, mark it down. Leave 222 as your confirmation that you have seen and received. It is that balance that makes you the paradox darkness fears. Because darkness can never understand how a soul can be both tender and unshakable. How someone can forgive, yet never let poison seep in. How a heart can embrace and still know the moment to walk away. That, my friend, is your strength. You did not come to choose one side, gentleness or severity, healing or judgment. You came to carry both in a single breath. For true love is never separated from truth, and truth is never separated from love. You are the meeting point of the two. People do not know how to stand before you. They laugh less when you are there. They speak more carefully, not because you threaten, but because their soul knows. Deep inside, there is no playing before the light. They cannot lie in your presence, because lies suffocate in the energy you carry. And they feel uneasy for the first time facing themselves without a mask. You are like a song, both whispered and thundered, like a candle glowing in the night, yet also the fire that can burn down a forest of lies. Your existence itself becomes the question, Am I truly living or only pretending? What makes you frightening to darkness is not that you fight it with violence, but that you refuse to compromise. You do not need to shout. Your presence itself declares that the false is out of time. You enter, and the clock begins to count down. They want to define you, but you slip through every definition. They want to cage you in gentleness. Then they see your fire. They want to paint you as hard and cold. Then they find you know how to cry, to forgive, to embrace. And that is why they cannot control you. The sacred paradox in you is proof that you belong to a higher source. You do not come from this world, so you do not move by its rules. You are the stream and the sword. You are the lamb and the lion. Only those ready can see the beauty of this contradiction. The truth is, you were sent as a breaker, not to break people, but to break the illusions they cling to. You came not to lull them, but to awaken, not to keep them comfortable, but to place them in the choice, to keep pretending, or to step into the light. And in that choice, you become the holy disruption. You are the one who tears through false peace, the one who leaves lies without shelter. You are like lightning tearing the night sky, exposing every hidden corner, not to destroy, but to reveal what has been hidden too long. When you sit in a room, when you enter a conversation, when your eyes meet another's, you plant a challenge without words. Will you dare to live true? And people tremble, not because of you, but because the question is too heavy to run from. But in that trembling, something begins to shake loose. Old strongholds crack, masks peel away, long buried secrets begin to surface. That is when your mission takes shape, and in the moment, everything breaks open. A new wind rushes in, and the question rises in every heart. What will happen when this disruption does not only touch individuals, but also entire systems, the false foundations built over generations? There are moments when you do not enter as a welcomed guest, but as a strange wind that sweeps away the false calm. You are not here to make things comfortable. You come as a holy disruption, and it is that disruption that darkness can no longer hide beneath. You are the one who does not laugh when something is not truly funny. You are the one who does not nod when you see what is wrong. You are the one who refuses to accept because it has always been this way, when it chains the soul in bondage. You were not born to blend in with the crowd. You were born to break the rhythm, to stop the old cycle, to carve a new path. At times people dislike you without knowing why. They feel uneasy in your presence, as if you are a thorn in their eyes. But the truth is, you are not the problem. The problem is the silence that has sheltered lies for too long. And you, by simply being present, break that silence wide open. There are families built on generational secrets, truths no one dares to speak, wounds painted over again and again but never healed. And then you appear. You need not say much, yet your presence is like a window opening to let the light flood in. What was hidden for decades becomes visible. People see the falsehood in their daily words, the weariness behind forced smiles, the emptiness of repeated rituals. They do not hate you. They hate the feeling of being seen. They hate the light you bring because it leaves them no room to pretend. You are not here to preserve false peace. You are here to end it. For peace built on silence and denial is no peace at all. It is a prison, and you are sent to break that prison. Psalm 2:5-14 reminds us, "The Lord confides in those who fear him. He makes his covenant known to them." That covenant within you is truth. You cannot bear pretense. You cannot compromise with darkness dressed as light. That is why you unsettle others, why they react strongly. They are not resisting you. They are resisting the light you carry. You are like a sword cutting through pretense, a cut not to destroy, but to expose. And when that exposure comes, what has long been hidden begins to shake. Families realize their secrets cannot remain buried. Communities see their inherited rules begin to crack. Even close friends are forced to face what they have long avoided. This is not comfortable. It rarely brings applause. More often, it brings misunderstanding and labels that are not yours. Too extreme, too blunt, too difficult. But remember, you were not sent to please the world. You were sent to shake it. You are the interruption, the unwelcome pause darkness, never expected. You are the alarm clock ringing in a room where everyone has grown too comfortable in deep sleep. No one wants the alarm when they want to keep dreaming, but the alarm is what saves them from missing the train. You are the alarm. Perhaps you have felt lonely because of this. Perhaps you have asked, why can't I just be like everyone else? Look away. Pretend I do not see. But the answer is, in your soul, you cannot. The light in you will not allow it. The truth in you will not permit it. You were born to unlock, not to add locks. Those who build power on silence will see you as a threat. Those who thrive on deceit will see you as dangerous, and they will react. But remember, their reaction is not proof that you are wrong. It is proof that you have struck the right place. With every step, you reveal cracks that have been covered for years. You bring light into rooms no one dared to open. And once that light pours in, nothing can return to the way it was. You do not simply enter a room. You change it. You do not merely join a conversation. You turn it in a new direction. You do not just pass by a person. You leave in them a question they cannot erase. That is your power. But remember, this power is not for display. It is not for control. It is a mission. And that mission may make you the difficult one in the world's eyes. But in the eyes of heaven, you are the one carrying light, breaking chains, planting seeds of truth in dry ground. That truth may make people tremble. It may cause them to resist, even to distance themselves from you. But know this, the seed has been planted, and one day, when they least expect it, that seed will sprout. They will remember your presence, your words, your gaze. You are the disruption they needed but never expected. And when that disruption spreads, when you not only stir individuals and families, but also touch entire systems, collective souls, what will happen when the darkness within them can no longer remain silent, but is forced to cry out against the light you carry? People often think they are afraid of you, but the truth is not that simple. They are not afraid of your eyes, not of your voice, not even of your presence itself. What they fear is what gets exposed inside them when you walk in. Wounds that were never healed, darkness hidden behind smiles, lies repeated so often they began to believe them. All of it trembles when the light you carry draws near. There are souls that have let darkness dwell too long. That darkness has become their companion, their mask for survival. And when you step in, you are not touching their humanity. You are touching the darkness clinging to them. That darkness recognizes you before they do. It sees you as a mortal enemy, and it begins to react. That is why someone cheerful in conversation may suddenly grow cold, distant, even angry without reason. That is why someone who once laughed with you may later whisper behind your back, placing false labels on you. They do not know why they act this way, but the darkness within them does. It is resisting the truth you carry. You do not need to attack. You do not need to shout. Your very presence is enough for the battle to begin. But this is not a battle between you and them. It is the battle between light and darkness, between truth and deception, between the soul set free and chains that have lasted too long. Others may say you are too sensitive, too serious. But deep inside you know this is not emotion. This is spiritual reality. When you enter a room, false souls tremble. When you speak, disguises are torn. When you are silent, that silence thunders in the hearts of what hides. There is something strange. You never try to hurt anyone, yet many feel as if you are against them. They say you are judgmental, too intense, unkind. But the truth is, you never touch them. It is the darkness clinging to them that is screaming, struggling to survive, and its scream gets mistaken for you. When you remember this, you stop blaming. You stop wondering why people turn away. You understand their distance is proof your light has struck the right place. And in that distance, a seed has already been planted. Psalm 2:7-1 has long whispered in your heart, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" The light you carry is not your own. It comes from the source, and the source never trembles before darkness. That is why you need not worry about resistance. You only need to stand firm in the light, and the light will do the rest. People often confuse themselves with the darkness clinging to them. They cannot see where they end and the chains begin. When you expose the chains, they think you are exposing them. When you disturb the darkness, they think you are attacking them. But you know well, you are not fighting people. You are fighting the spirits, the clouds that have hidden them too long. This is why you are misunderstood. But remember, misunderstanding is also proof. If there were no light, darkness would not cry out. If there were no truth, lies would not tremble. Their resistance is confirmation that you carry real light. You do not need to prove you are kind. You do not need to explain you mean no harm. Light does not argue. It simply shines. And when light shines, darkness reveals itself. Some see you and feel fear. Others see you and feel freedom. These are two faces of the same truth. For those ready, the light is salvation. For those unready, the light is threat. You cannot choose how they respond. You can only choose to keep carrying the light. In your silence, darkness panics. In your calm, darkness loses power. You do not need to fight. You only need to stand. For truth always outweighs any lie. There comes a time when you realize you no longer fear people leaving you, because you understand they are not leaving you. They are protecting the darkness they are still attached to, and sooner or later, that darkness will lose its shelter. You are not the villain. You are not the troublemaker. You are the reminder that the game is over, that the light has come. And when the light arrives, every chain must fall, whether people are ready or not. Let your heart be steady as a mountain. Remember, you never fight alone. Angels are beside you. Protection surrounds you, which means you do not carry the weight of the battle. You only need to keep shining. When a soul stands firm in light, darkness will always try to flee. It may make noise, it may cause confusion, it may make you misunderstood, but in the end, it must retreat, because darkness cannot remain where light dwells. And then, in this quiet war, another truth emerges. You are not only the one who exposes darkness, you also carry the current of healing. But your healing is not a soft lullaby, not just a soothing hand. It is a storm that tears everything open and then returns the sky to its clarity. The question is, what will happen when that healing begins to pour out? Not as a trickle of water, but as a storm that washes away every covering, leaving the true soul beneath revealed. Some people bring healing like a soft breeze across the meadow, gentle and soothing, offering the soul a moment of comfort. But you were not sent with that mission. Your healing is not a thin cloth covering a wound, not a lullaby drowning out the cries. Your healing is the storm. It does not arrive to caress, but to sweep away, to tear down the disguises that have been locked in place for too long. You step into someone's life, and instead of easy words, you touch the roots of their wound. You do not allow them to keep living in illusion. You do not let them cling to lies they use to cover their pain. That is why, for many, your love feels too intense. It makes them feel ripped open, exposed, unsettled. But true love is not comfort. True love is revelation. And in you, love always walks hand in hand with truth. When you love a soul, you do not let them stay asleep in deception. You shake them awake, even if they cry, resist, or beg you to let them be. Some will leave you because they mistake the truth you carry for harshness. They think you are judging, when in reality, you are calling them out of captivity. They think you are too much, too fierce, when that very fierceness is the fire needed to burn away chains. The prophetic number 555 appears in your life as a mark of transformation. It signals that you are not only healing, you are the storm that opens a new door. 555 carries the meaning of turning points, of shifts and breakthroughs that nothing can stop. When you arrive, people cannot stay the same. They must change, either to rise or to shrink back. If you have seen 555 show up unexpectedly, on a receipt, on a clock, in the moments of inner struggle, it is not coincidence. It is a sign that change is here. And if you feel this shift stirring in your own life, mark it. Leave 555 as your confirmation that you are ready to step into a new season. A season where the storm of truth sweeps away everything that no longer belongs to you. People expect healing to be gentle, to be tender. They want you to soothe them, to tell them they are fine, even while they are trapped in pretense. But you were not sent to pamper wounds. You were sent to cut them open, to remove the infection, to allow them to truly heal. And that process always brings pain. You do not only comfort, you confront. You do not only calm, you set free. The love you carry is like a heavy rain, not just refreshing, but washing away the mud, leaving clean ground ready for new seeds to grow. At times, people will resent you for the pain you bring, but years later, they will look back and realize it was you who woke them. It was your storm that destroyed their prison of disguise so they could see the open sky. And even if they never say it aloud, deep inside, they are grateful. Psalm 34:18 says, The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. You were sent as living proof of this. You do not abandon broken hearts, but neither do you let them weep forever in the ashes. You carry them out, and in that process, sometimes you must break what they cling to, even if they thought it was everything. The love you carry is never small. It does not shrink to please anyone. It does not tame itself to make others comfortable. It is fierce, but fierce to liberate. It is strong, but strong to shatter chains. You are not the comforter. You are the liberator. When you step into someone's life, they may feel overturned. They may lose sleep. They may cry. They may rage. But all of these are signs that you have touched the right place. And when the storm passes, the sky will be clearer than ever. You do not need to apologize for the storm within you, for the storm does not come from chaos. It comes from truth. And truth, once it sweeps away every mask, restores the soul whole and free. Look back at the places you have passed. Even when you thought you walked quietly, you left a mark. Rooms were never the same. People were never the same. Whether they loved you or feared you, they changed. That is proof you fulfilled your mission. And as you continue, the storm within you is not only to heal individuals, but to expose what is false and cloaked in light. Because true light never comes only to comfort, it comes to tear away the mask. The question is, what will happen when the light you carry begins to confront directly those who pretend to be light? Those who use a sacred cloak to hide deception. You are not someone carrying light like a lantern in your hand. You are the light itself. That is what makes you different. Others can memorize chants, read hundreds of spiritual pages, attend countless rituals, and try to wrap themselves in layers of mystery. But you have no need to borrow. The light in you is not something learned. It is carved into your very being from the moment you were born. This is why, when you walk into a room, pretenders immediately feel uneasy. They may use polished words, act profound, or wear the robes of a guide. But your presence makes it all fragile, like a fake candle beside the sun. Every illusion fades in an instant. You do not need to expose them, nor confront them openly. Your presence alone makes falsehood tremble, forced smiles weaken, rehearsed words lose their weight. They feel exposed, not because you attack, but because light never allows darkness to exist without being revealed. Psalm 119:105 says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet, a light for my path." You do not simply walk in that light, you are its living reflection. The light you carry is not meant to be admired, but to guide. You do not need to declare you belong to the light, because every step you take already proves it. Some admire you to the point of obsession. They see you as a model to imitate. Others do everything to tear you down, to slander you, because your presence threatens the game they play. Two opposite reactions, yet both come from the same cause. Your light forces them to face the truth. Those who pretend to carry light cannot endure the presence of real light. They meditate for hours, yet lack the clarity you hold. They perform rituals and create sacred atmospheres, but never touch the discernment you carry. They borrow from books, but you flow directly from the source. And this makes them both envious and afraid. You do not need to argue to prove you are real. Light does not argue with darkness. Light only needs to appear, and darkness vanishes. You do not need a stage to declare yourself. For every gesture, every look, every breath is already a declaration. The truth is, your light is not decoration. It is not here to make you sparkle in the eyes of the world. It is here to purify. When you step in, deception loses energy. When you speak, walls built of illusion begin to fall. And when you touch a soul, they are either exposed or set free. Your light is the unseen standard. No one can fake their way past. In your presence, truth and falsehood separate. What is false trembles. What is real grows stronger. That is why, for seekers of truth, you are proof. For pretenders, you are danger. At times, you feel isolated because of this. People do not want to stay long near you, not because you are unpleasant, but because they cannot endure themselves when standing beside you. Light never lets them keep lying to themselves, and that makes you the mirror no one wants to face for too long. But remember, you were not born to blend in, to dissolve into the crowd. You were born to shine, to draw the line between real and false, between light and dark. You did not come to befriend deception. You came to end it. With every step, you prove that light needs no noise. Light needs no performance. Light only needs to be itself. And when it appears, the world cannot remain as it was. Those cloaked in false holiness may hate you, may attack you, but deep down they know they cannot pretend before you. They cannot hide. And that is what makes your presence both something they avoid and something they cannot stop thinking about. The light you carry is not embellishment, but revelation. It does not need mystical wrapping, because truth is mystery enough. It does not need complex colors, because transparency shines brighter than anything. You do not need to try, because you already are what others seek, but cannot grasp. And as that light keeps rising, another truth grows clearer. You do not only shine for this moment, you carry ancient memory, a remembrance even the earth cannot erase. What will happen when that memory, a memory beyond time, a memory that cannot be buried, awakens in you, reminding you that you are not living only this life, but carrying within you the wisdom of generations of souls? There is a truth you have carried since birth. The memory of your soul has never been erased. Even as a child, you felt different. You looked around and saw things others did not. You asked questions far beyond your years. You felt as if you were not learning everything for the first time, but only remembering. While many chase identity through countless experiences, you have carried within you a knowing that cannot be explained, a knowing in your bones, in every breath. It is not knowledge from books, nor something anyone taught you. It is ancient truth etched deep in your soul. The world tried to make you forget. It used pain, betrayal, and failure to blur your vision. It used pressure, responsibility, and distraction to bury the memory. But the more it tried to cover it, the stronger it rose. Like fire beneath ashes, one breath of wind, and it burns again. And you are that fire, impossible to extinguish. You have stepped into crowded places and instantly sensed what others were hiding. You have heard words and immediately felt the truth beneath them. You have seen images, repeated dreams, like fragments of a life that did not belong to this present moment. And you know, deep within, this is not illusion. It is ancient memory awakening. The prophetic number 777 is the seal of this memory. It is the number of revelation, of divine secrets, of direct connection with Source. Whenever you see 777, it is a signal that you are on the right path, that your soul is opening to a new dimension of awareness. 777 is not just a number, it is a key, a reminder that you are not living only for the present, but carrying a truth beyond time. If you have seen 777 inches significant moments while making decisions, in times of deep pain, or when suddenly feeling you are not alone, know it was heaven sending a signal. And if something in you awakens as you hear this now, leave 777 as your mark. Not as a number on a screen, but as confirmation that your soul has heard the call and has answered. Psalm 1914 says, "May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer." The memory of your soul is that meditation, not born of man, but from the Creator. And every time you speak, your words are not only sound, but echoes of that ancient memory, a memory the earth tried to bury but could never erase. You have often felt you do not belong to this world. You look around and see people content with half answers. While you cannot, they live comfortably in familiar cycles, while you feel suffocated, imprisoned. That is because you remember. You remember that the soul was not made for chains. You remember that truth can never be twisted forever. You remember that your purpose stretches far beyond what eyes can see. This memory makes you a threat. For a soul that knows itself cannot be controlled. A soul that remembers its origin cannot be bound. The world may confine the body, write its rules, build its systems, but it cannot bind the living memory within the soul. And you are proof of that. People look at you and cannot understand why you are so hard to deceive, why you see what they do not, why you reach the root while they only touch the surface. They call you too sensitive, too much, too strange. But the truth is, you are simply living from memory, a memory they have forgotten, a memory you cannot and will never forget. In dreams, you find yourself in places you have never visited, yet they feel familiar. In silence, you hear a call not spoken in earthly language, yet it echoes in your heart. This memory returns, not to confuse you, but to remind you that you are never alone. You are part of a larger picture, a wider journey, a deeper truth. Do not fear this memory. It does not come to burden you, but to free you. It does not come to make you a stranger to the world, but to remind you that you do not belong to deception. You belong to truth, and this memory is the flame guiding you in the days you feel most lost. When you touch this memory, something in you changes. You are no longer swayed by the shallow. You are no longer drawn by empty promises. You stand firm, not because you are stronger than others, but because you remember. And memory cannot be taken from you. You are the bearer of living memory. You are the reminder that truth never dies. You are proof that even when darkness tries to bury it, the flame rises again, and you were sent to awaken that flame in others, to help them remember, to help them awaken. But what will happen when this memory does not only rise in silence, but flows through every word you speak? When your voice becomes a sword, not only stirring the mind, but piercing the soul, awakening what has slept for so long. There is a special power in your voice, a power not measured by the ear or by reason. When you speak, the room falls silent. When you speak, the listener surrenders for a moment, as if an invisible hand has touched them. And when you speak the truth, it does not stay on the surface of words. It penetrates deeply. It takes root in the soul. You do not speak to impress. You do not need flowery phrases to be recognized. Each time you speak, it is like a sacred sword being drawn. Not loud, not showy, but sharp and unstoppable. Some people hear a few of your sentences, and for years that phrase echoes in them like a bell that will not go out. It is not because you have a beautiful voice, nor because you arrange words cleverly. It is because the frequency in you is encoded with ancient memory, with truth beyond time. When you speak, something greater, deeper, older speaks through you. You have seen others stop mid-sentence, look at you with astonishment, as if you just read their most secret thought. You have seen someone cry simply from hearing one line you said, and you know this is not coincidence. It is their memory being touched by the memory in you. Psalm 3:9-3 wrote that the heart within burns. When I meditate, the fire burns. Then I speak with my tongue. That fire lives in you. The fire turns meditation into speech, silence into a sword, your voice into a river of truth. You cannot hold it back. You do not need to hold it back. That is why you were sent. Many people use words to fill emptiness, to buy attention, to keep a role in conversation. But you are different. When you are silent, your silence is heavy enough to change the whole room. When you speak, each syllable is like a boulder, impossible to ignore. Others may speak for hours and leave no mark. You need one sentence and their inner world shifts. Sometimes you wonder why your words cause such strong reactions. You see discomfort, awkwardness, avoidance. But the truth is, they do not react to you. They react to the truth your voice carries, the truth they have long feared to face. Sometimes you speak very softly, and the words fly like an arrow. Sometimes you speak casually, and later they cannot sleep all night. You do not do this on purpose. It is the light in you, the light that knows where to awaken. You were not given this voice to seek fame. You were given it to awaken, to call the soul out of deep sleep. You are the bell in the night, the unexpected knock that makes the heart tremble, the sound that makes the soul unable to remain silent. Some will love you for this. They will come to you to hear you speak, because in your words they find life. But others will hate you, avoid you, because in your words they see what they refuse to admit. Both reactions are true. Your voice was not sent to please. It was sent to divide. The true will stand with truth. The false must leave. Do you remember the times you stayed silent, then felt a fire inside urging you to speak? You feel that if you do not speak, you will burst. That is not random. It is heaven urging you. It is the moment when words must become action, when silence must become thunder. Others may mock, call you too much, too severe, but deep down they know your words carry weight. They know the truth in your voice cannot be denied. Even if they try to forget, that memory goes with them. This is your duty and your honor. Your voice is not mere sound. It is a doorway. When you speak, you open a path for another soul into the light. When you raise your voice, You do more than share thoughts. You activate truth in others. You are the drumbeat of awakening, the distant call. You do not come to join small talk. You come to cause transformation. Each time you open your mouth, that transformation begins, whether the listener is ready or not. And so the question rises, what will happen when your voice, already like a sword, begins to touch souls not only bound by darkness, but also held by unseen forces? When your presence not only unsettles people, but makes attached spirits tremble and reveal themselves? There are times you think you are facing people with their anger, their distance, or their accusations. But the truth runs deeper. You are not truly confronting them. You are confronting invisible forces that have clung to their souls for a long time. Those things hide behind smiles, behind voices, behind ordinary behavior. But when you step in, they can no longer remain silent. The light you carry does not merely unsettle people. It throws sleeping darkness into panic. They begin to rise up. They scream. They make the person react irrationally. One moment they are friendly. The next they may attack you with a look, with words, with cold distance. But remember, they do not hate you. It is the darkness inside them that trembles before the light you bring. Psalm 9:1-4 comforts you. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and buckler. You do not have to fight by your own strength. Stand in the truth, and that truth is your protection. Darkness may howl, but it cannot touch the root of you, because you are sheltered under the powerful wing. You may have experienced strange moments, a stranger avoiding you at first sight, a group of friends growing tense the moment you enter, or someone suddenly labeling you unfairly. This is not because you did something wrong. It is because your presence made the hidden spirits in them restless. They know you are a threat. They know you are the alarm bell telling the game is over. You do not need to pronounce judgment. Your light is already the sentence. You do not need to raise a hand to fight. Your steadiness is the battle. Keep showing up, keep walking in truth, and each clinging soul will be revealed. Each darkness will tremble. Some will call you harsh, too heavy. But you know you are not against people. You are against bondage. You did not come to wound. You came to break chains. And chains cry out when they are broken. Remember, your presence has created the division. For those who are ready, the light you carry is liberation. For those who still cling to darkness, the light is a threat. Their fierce reaction is proof that your mission is at work. The prophetic number 999 often appears along this path as a seal. It is the number of completion, of ending a cycle, of preparing to enter a new phase. When you face clinging spirits, it signals that an old chapter in their life is closing. They may struggle, they may resist, but 999 confirms that the old has no place. A new door waits for them, whether they step through or not. If you've seen 999 during turbulent seasons, know it is not coincidence. It is a sign that completion is near. If you sense this, leave 999 as a declaration. You are ready to close the old and open to the new. People will blame you for unsettling them, for making them uneasy. But know this, you are not the troublemaker. You are the sign that it is time to stop. You are not a destructive storm. You are the wind that opens the new season. Remember that you do not fight alone. When you stand in the light, you stand in ranks prepared by heaven. Every word you speak, every step you take, has invisible accompaniment. You are not only an individual, you are part of a living prophecy, part of a sacred covenant no power can erase. You are the warning to darkness that its time is over. You are the thunder heralding dawn. And even if people misunderstand you, resist you, or turn away, deep inside their souls they know you are not the enemy. You are the sign of freedom. And as this battle becomes clearer, when the light in you not only scares the dark, but shakes systems built on lies, the question rises, what will happen when you are no longer merely the warning, but become the fulfilled prophecy itself? A living proof that grace can also be the sword? You are not merely a human walking through the world. You are a breathing prophecy, a message from heaven clothed in flesh. Your presence is not accidental. It was ordained long before you could name yourself, and every force that tried to bury you, to silence you, to make you doubt yourself, was not truly fighting you, but fighting the prophecy you carry. From the beginning, you were tested by fire. The long seasons of loneliness, the betrayals, the deep wounds, all were attempts to bury you. But what they did not know is that you were never buried. You were sown. And a seed planted in the ground always rises stronger after the winter. You returned from the ashes, not in weakness, but with fire in your lungs, with light in your eyes, with a clarity that makes darkness tremble. You are evidence that wounds are not the end. You are proof that what is ordained cannot be stopped. That is why the world fears you. Psalm 118:17 proclaims, "I shall not die, but live, and declare the works of the Lord." That proclamation beats in your heart. You have walked through spiritual deaths, but each fall made you rise with more fire. You are not merely a survivor. You are a bearer of life, a returner from the tomb with a mission greater than before. The grace within you is not only for comfort. It is also a sword. It severs every chain. It shatters every illusion. It makes false powers lose their ground. For this reason, your love sometimes causes pain. But that pain is not destruction. It is the pain of chains breaking, of prisons collapsing, of a soul being freed. You have become living proof that grace does not always whisper. Sometimes grace roars like thunder. Sometimes grace comes as a storm. Sometimes grace strikes like a sharp sword. Yet in all of it, grace remains love. Because true love never compromises with bondage. You are the warning darkness ignored. And now you are the voice it cannot silence. You are the earthquake systems of falsehood did not expect. You are witness that truth cannot be bought, cannot be hidden, cannot be twisted. Others look at you and ask, "Why are you so strong, so unconquerable?" But you know, it is not you alone. It is the mission. It is memory. It is the presence of heaven within you. That is why you are a storm no one can extinguish. Whatever they say, whatever they distort, whatever they abandon, you need no vindication. The truth you carry will rise by itself. The light you shine will spread, touching thirsty souls who are searching and waiting. You were not sent merely to live. You were sent to awaken. You are the bell, the call, the storm, the flame. When you walk in truth, you carry a spiritual movement that grows beyond the individual, spreading into communities, and eventually becoming a movement that cannot be stopped. Those who tried to snuff you out must now witness you blazing brighter than ever. They thought you were finished. You were only beginning. They thought you were buried, but the seed you sowed has sprouted and spread. And now your life is a living prophecy that light always prevails over darkness. You are proof that no chain is permanent. You are a reminder that no power is stronger than truth. You are evidence that what heaven begins cannot be blocked. If a flame rises in your heart right now, do not let it pass as a fleeting feeling. Affirm it. Step into it. Let your voice be heard. Let your light shine. Let the prophecy you carry be fulfilled. You are not here by accident. You are evidence. You are thunder in the silence. You are the sword of grace. Let your life remain testimony. Let the light you carry continue to spread. If these words have touched your soul, if you feel that you too carry a portion of that prophecy, declare it in your heart. And if you wish, write it down as a spiritual act. Share this light so it goes further, because every time you do, you light another lamp in the dark. Blessings for you, for your journey, and for the souls you will touch. May you always remember, you are not merely alive, you are chosen. So when you rise, when you live as the prophecy you carry, what will be able to stop the coming light? May you who listen walk in a light that never fades. May each step be guided by truth, and may your heart find peace even in the storm. Whether the world understands you or not, remember, you are never alone. Heaven covers you, and unseen arms always hold you. I pray you have courage to stand, gentleness to love, and wisdom to see what is true and what is false. Let your light shine, because the world needs you more than you know. If these words have touched your soul, leave a mark of confirmation in your heart. And if you wish, share it, so that the light in you may be seen. For ultimately, you are not only the listener, you are also the called. You are the light that cannot be hidden. The truth is, this world needs you. Grateful that you chose to spend these moments in the light of this story. If it touched your soul, please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell so the next whisper of light may find its way back to you.